isolation was far better than what was going on out there. Arkwright's briefing had included scenes from the streets that were nothing short of horrifying. Scattered debris from looted, partially collapsed buildings blew along desolate roads and pavements, past the burnt-out wreckage of cars, and, every now and then, the body of someone foolish enough to have ventured outside. They didn't stay there long, removed every 24 hours by larger versions of the hideous arachnoid courier robots and taken away for incineration. When not engaged in this grim duty, the machines clattered amongst the devastation, laden like pack animals with the food and other essentials they delivered to each of the city's surviving households and apartment buildings. Some of them carried the cameras that captured and broadcast the apocalyptic scenes, spliced with overhead shots taken by the drones that hovered like sentinels in the sky, helping to protect those people wise enough to remain indoors. Hashtag follow the guidelines. Hashtag stay inside, stay alive. At least the lockdown gave him plenty of time to work on his detective novel. Everyone has a book inside them. His friend Nicola, who once wrote the sort of dystopian fiction that had been popular before it became overtaken by dystopian reality, had told him a long time ago. And you used to be a real-life detective, so you should have lots inside you. He remembered those days as though they'd been lived by someone else, like a dream he'd had, another body he had temporarily possessed. He supposed he'd been a brave man once. He'd seen things, survived things that most people didn't even know could happen. Perhaps that was part of the cause of his agoraphobia, a gradual erosion of his psychological defenses, a sort of inbuilt limit to the amount of revulsion and horror a person could suppress. He knew exactly what had tipped him over the brink, of course. A night he would never forget, the straw that broke the camel's back. The idiom was perfectly apt. His mind had cracked like snapping vertebrae, leaving him as useless as a crippled animal. Don't think about it, Eugene. He focused instead on the insistently blinking cursor. If Nicola's words were true, then so far at least whatever book he was incubating was steadfastly refusing to hatch. That wasn't to say Eugene hadn't been writing. He'd penned an enormous amount since the distancing had started, but so far every single word of it had ended up as rough notes, half-baked outlines, abandoned drafts. As his gaze drifted to the wall next to the television, he shuddered as he recalled the window that used to be there and the world beyond it. He wished Nicola was still around to give him some more advice. She was one of the dead, of course. The virus had claimed her the first and only time she'd broken the guidelines. She'd apparently smashed the lock off her balcony door, stepped outside for just a few seconds, gulping down the air like a desperate drug addict. Those scant breaths had been more than enough. Once the COVID-24, or whatever strain they were up to now, got into your lungs, there wasn't anything the doctors and medical robots could do for you, except make you as comfortable as possible while you wheezed to death in your own bed. That's why, like a number of the tower's residents, he'd had his own balcony door and windows bricked up months ago. "James, call Fraser for me." He sighed, deciding it was time for a break. "Of course, Eugene," replied the AI, its soothing voice seeming to emanate from the air around him. It came from speakers built into the walls of every room, part of the apartment's smart technology, like the integrated lift shaft that brought the spider-like delivery robots up to him at 0720 every morning. James' own circuitry was similarly hardwired into the building's superstructure, meaning the AI could operate every appliance and gadget in the building. This included Eugene's TV set, which sprang to life after a brief dial tone with a crystal-clear picture of his friend's handsome, boyish face. "Morning, Gene," the younger man said, grinning into his own identical screen. "How are you doing?" "It's nearly 4 in the afternoon, Fraser," Eugene replied witheringly. "Oh, is it?" Fraser glanced around, frowning in surprise.